There we go. Now we got some sound. Good morning, everybody. And to everybody, good morning. Do me a favor, invite somebody to share. I can't see who's on. It's not showing me. Keisha Michelle William, what up? Good to see you, lady. Second day in a row. Wow. Good morning. Do me a favor, everybody. Invite somebody to share. I see a few people from Facebook, a few people from YouTube. The other platforms are not allowing me to see, but there's a total of about 20 people on right now. If you invite somebody and share it, more people will get on. Tosh, good morning. Latasha Hosey. Good to see you. So this morning we're talking about building a platform. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dive right in. Hold on one second. Don't y'all go nowhere, okay? Got to do something. Hold on one second. All right. Thank you so much for your patience. We're talking about building a platform. And I want you to know how important that is. So about, what year is this? 2022. Oh, tell your kids I said hello, Tosh. I love your kids. For real. Millicent West Jordan Renee, good morning. Terrance isn't from Brentwood, Millicent. Terry. Got to get the names right. Y'all got to get the names right. Did you not know I had a name for every place? It was Terry. Terrance is what they called me in school. So, but the people that know me, the people that grew up with me, my family, they call me Terry. Anyway, good to see you. Terry from the block, come through. Anyway, about 2000, I'm going to say 2008, 2009. Millicent, how's Leslie doing? I would love to see Leslie or at least talk to her. About 2006, 2007, I went on radio with a friend of mine, and I was his co-host. We were on a station, many of you remember, 88.1 The River. Prior to that, I had no real radio experience. I had a show when we were kids, maybe 13, 14. Myself, Timothy Cole, the late, great Bishop Elrico Wade. All of us were on radio with our own show on WSVE up under the direction of the late Mr. McGaffey. And the name of our show was WSVE Youth for Christ. It was actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Timothy Cole's show. He brought me and Rico on as co-hosts. And we had a 30-minute show. Well, I had no thought of radio, no real desire for radio, but I got another one of my friends. I got him a show just from some people that I knew. The general manager of that show, I'm asking that you all pray for him. I'm sorry, the general manager of that station, 88.1. Many of you remember 88.1 from back in the day. Well, the general manager, LaTanya Dixon, good to see you. His name is Calvin Graybow. Calvin Graybow was the general manager. He's had some health challenges, and we're believing God he's going to push through. So Calvin and I became really good friends, and I went to Calvin telling him what my friend wanted. Calvin hooked it up, and my friend had a show. Well, because I was the middleman, the mediator, they made me the co-host of that show, but I had no desire for radio. Now, I was the minister of music at a church at the time. In fact, the pastor of worship at the Bethel Baptist Institutional Church downtown, and my pastors at that time was Bishop Rudolph McKissick Sr. and Bishop Rudolph McKissick Jr. They were my pastors. And I was the pastor of worship there. And I was there for a number of years, maybe 8, 9, somewhere up in there. And during the entire time, I had no real desire for radio. As the co-host, the show ended, I got off. And I heard something one day while I was in church. I was bored. I felt just felt idle. I felt like there was more that I could do. And I heard something said, and it said it just like this: it's time to do radio and TV. That's what I heard. Are y'all there? Okay, thank you. I heard it's time to do radio and TV. So from there, I didn't look out. I didn't even know who to talk to about doing a radio show. And even though Calvin was my friend, their radio station would not fit the format that I was trying to bring to the airways. And to be honest with you, I didn't have a format. I just knew they wouldn't be the station. Long story short, one night, I got a call from the radio station, and the call went like this: hey, we've been trying to put on a Christmas concert, and no one will call us back. They say no one will call us back. And I said to them, really? They said, yeah. So we set up an appointment. They came to my office. I had the general manager and the young lady that was over the sales department. Both of them came. They sat in my office, and for the next 30 to 45 minutes, I called everybody that they wanted to be on this program for the radio station. It was Christmas at the town center. I called everyone that they wanted to be on that program, and all of them answered my call, and I made that concert happen. Well, after I called everybody and they confirmed, the general manager asked me, he said, now, we're so appreciative of you. Thank you so much for taking the time out your day to help us. And then he said the golden words. He said, what can we do for you? I said, well, I want my own show. I mean, without hesitation, I didn't warm him up. I said, I want my own radio show. I want it to be an inspiration. I want to talk about love, life, God, the stuff that happened. And I kid you not, we had some things we had to work out. But from there is when I got my first radio show. So let me stop and make a point here. Your platform, because everyone has one, whether you advertise it or not, whether you market it or not, everyone has a platform. That platform, your platform, begins when you have an ear. If someone is listening to you, I don't care if it's for information, advice, you have a platform. Now, everybody's called to a platform of some sort, because we're not put here for nothing. We have a purpose. We're put here It's a part of God's plan. And your platform could be in the studio of your salon. It could be in the daycare. It could be in the office of the daycare. It could be in the classroom. Your platform could be in your car. Every day you get ready to leave work, there's about 3 or 4 people that want to meet you at your car to ask you your opinion. Everyone has a platform. I'm going to say that again. Tina White McPherson, good morning. Andrea Mitchell, good morning. Everybody has a platform. Platforms look different, and you cannot scale your platform or judge your platform based on the size of who's following you. You never know who you're leading. I ask people this all the time because I believe that everybody's called to be a leader of some sort. I ask them all the time, who's more important? The king or the king's men? The people that make up the king, it's king's men, or the king. There can be no king without the king's men. The king's men are responsible for making up the king, for creating the king, what the king learned, what the king knows, how the judgment of the king is shaped. All of that happens at the hands of king's men. And I tell people, do not underestimate your platform or your leadership, because you could be leading a king. That person that's asking you advice, you don't know where God has centered them in the world and who's going to be following them in the future. So the reason you have to take this stuff seriously is because your words influences behavior. Oh, Lord. The scripture says death and life is in the power of the tongue. They that love it will eat the fruit thereof. It's not talking about you speaking stuff into existence. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me go, because I quote this all the time. Let me go. It's in Proverbs 18, 20, 21, something like that. I'm going to go there and I'm going to read it for you because it's real important when you start talking about influence. Proverbs, I think it's 17, 18, or 21. Yep, there it is. Proverbs 18:21. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. The way we understand scriptures, we have to read what comes before it. So the beginning of that proverb says, through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Now, the Proverbs, the first verse is talking about gaining and desiring wisdom. All right. Verse 2, a fool have no delight in understanding. So this particular proverb starts out with talking about wisdom and understanding. It's the separation of the wise and the foolish. A fool has no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt. Look at verse 4. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgments. Verse 6. A fool's lip enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to find him that is a great waster. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and is safe. The rich man's wealth is his strong city and is high wall in his own conceit. Everything in this, let me go to verse 14. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear. Everything in this particular proverb is talking about influence and the influence that words have. A wise man uses his words to build a city. A fool in his contempt take what's in his heart and use his words as weapons. So by the time it gets to death and life is in the power of the tongue, is not telling you that you have the ability to speak life. It's not what it's saying. And it's not telling you you have the power to speak death. Nikki, Nicole, Mitchell, good morning, Nikki. Good to see you. It's good coffee. It's not telling you you have the power to speak life. You do not have the power to speak death. Here's the proof. Here's the proof. If you have the power to speak life, go to the graveyard, find at least one person you love and raise them up with your words. Don't tell me it's been too long, they've been gone too long. No. If you have the power of life and death, if God has granted you that power, go raise them from the dead. I'll wait for you. All right. If you have the power in the power, hold on a minute. Okay. If you have the power of life and death in your tongue, kill somebody with your mouth. And because of what you say, let them die. If the power of life and death is in your tongue, call me a couple of million or a couple of billion. We don't have the power. We do not have the power to create life or create death. That is not what that scripture was saying. What that scripture was saying is that death in life is talking about influence, the influence of words. That's why everything that leads up to it, everything that comes after is dealing with words. It's dealing with lips. It's dealing with what a person says. Your words have the power to influence a person's life, so much so that many people are in the position that they are in because of the words that were spoke over them. They begin to believe what was said. The words didn't have power. You bought into what was said. I'm going to give you something else. Raven Thompson, good to see you, sweetheart. Tanya Thomas, what's up? Make sure you all follow Tanya. Tanya's doing a great work in our community. So I got to break this down because we're talking about building a platform, and most people believe that they can build a platform by what I'm going to speak it into existence. I'm going to manifest this thing. And they got manifest little parties where you're going to manifest and you're going to be successful because you have the power to make it happen. And my only intent this morning is to show you that's wrong. If you had the power to manifest, if you had the power to speak those things that are not as though they were, we're going to go to that scripture next. If death and life was in the power of the tongue, you would not be in the position that you're in now, because you've spoken better and you've also spoken worse. Neither one of them happened. Here's another thing that I'm going to go ahead and throw out there since I'm here, especially those of you that call yourself believers, followers of Christ. How is it that you're in the blood, but you're so concerned about what people speak over you? If I am in the blood and the blood covers me, nothing anyone says matters, because it has no power over me. The power of words happen because they influence us into believing that we are that. So when someone tells you that, just talking about the power of words, someone says, "Good morning. How are you, gorgeous? You doing okay today?" Those words, that compliment, influences your heart to a smile. You bought in, you appreciated the compliment. All right. Someone, you can go to work and someone can say to you, "Kenneth Reddick, good morning, bro." Kenneth Reddick II. His dad is a great man, and he is as well. When someone tells you, "Hey, you blankety blank, you can kiss my," and they go in on you, those words influence you to say some damnable things, possibly things that they kill the mood. Death is separation. So death and life and the power of the tongue, it's talking about how words influence life and they influence death. If you are negative, you're going to believe negative. The more negatives you believe, the more negatives you become, and those negative things can take you to an early death. The more positive things that are spoke over you, to you, the more positive things you believe, those positive things will lead you to a long life. What you hear determines what you become, because it's the words that influence how we believe. Unknown user says, "Good morning, bro." They call me little bro, so it's got to be one of my big brothers. It's probably James Ross. You're talking good this morning. I believe that's James Ross. So what you say affects how you believe, and how you believe is what you become. This is why you can take a person, stick them in a classroom, or take a person, put them over about 100 people, and what they say influence everyone differently. We grew up in a time where we had a Caucasian teacher to tell us that we weren't going to be nothing. And because I grew up in a strong home that believed in speaking the right words to us, speaking the right words over us. Oh, that's Tracy Raymond. What up, lady? Good to see you. Tell my boy D, tell Derek I said, what's up? So this particular Caucasian teacher I was in, just to show you the lasting power of words, I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was in elementary school at Norwood Elementary. And because the way our home was structured and the things that were spoken to us, the things that were spoken over us in church, in school, it built a fortitude of belief inside of me, where even as a kid, I believe I was what God said I was. And I was fluent in scripture enough to know that what she was saying was incorrect and it was devilish. So it did not play with my belief. But I never forget one of my friends in class, he was so broken by it. And I tried to lift him and couldn't. So much so that his mom came out. They had a parent-teacher conference, and the mom removed him from the class. Eventually, they got rid of the teacher. But my point is, what you believe, what you process as your belief is what you become But the same thing can be spoken to all of us. And just because it's spoken to you, spoken over you, doesn't mean that it's going to come true. You have to buy into it. It's the same thing with faith. You can speak faith. We can preach faith. If you don't believe faith, that faith will not work for you. But faith is a principle that works with everybody, everywhere, no matter your ethnicity, no matter your geographical location. Anybody exercise the principle of faith and believe it, it will work for them. So when Proverbs says death and life is in the power of the tongue, it's talking about the power that words has to influence death and influence life. They took some doctors and scientists did research, and they created a water pill and gave it to cancer patients. I think the number was 100. They gave it to 100 cancer patients, and they told the cancer patients that the water pill was the cure to cancer. Out of 100 cancer patients, only 2 died. The rest of them lived. 98 people lived because they believed that that pill was the answer to cure cancer. The Egyptians believed, and they lived by their thought. They believed that healing was in the mind. And according to history, the Egyptians lived a long life because they believed that in their thinking they process or could produce healing because it was in their mind. What am I saying to you? I'm saying to you, whatever you believe happens. Not what's said to you, not what's spoken up to you. Whatever you buy into happens. Whatever you believe happens to you. I believed that I was somebody, and through my life, I was told I was nothing. I would be nothing. I wouldn't be successful. I heard that in my family, and I heard it in the streets. But that's not what I believed. I don't believe that to this day. Whatever we believe, we become. Star, good morning. Whatever we believe, we become. So now you're talking about building a platform. The first thing that has to happen in the building of a platform is you have to believe you have one. People don't think that they have influence. People don't think that they're leaders. Everybody believes in leadership. But everybody doesn't believe they are a leader. But everybody is a leader. Everybody has influence. Now, when it comes down to who your leadership affects, when it comes down to your following, that varies based on your gift and it varies based on your call. Just because a person has a small following does not necessarily mean that they're less significant than someone that has millions following them. So it's not how many people follow you that determines what type of leader you are, or if you are a leader. It's what you give them. So you can take one person that has 1 million followers and take one person who has 5. If the person that has 5, those 5 people that are following them are kings, and each king has 3 million people that they are accountable for. The person who is leading the 5 has more responsibility than the person leading 1 million. But we don't know. This is why we shouldn't compare. We shouldn't fall into the sin of comparison. You don't know who you are influencing. I had this lady. This lady used to speak in my life on a continual basis. No one ever knew her name. And she gave me some solid advice over the years. No one ever knew her name. In fact, when she passed, I went to a funeral. It may have been 10, 15 people there. She didn't have a large family. The only living relative or only relative was her daughter. Then her daughter had kids, and she had a cousin. That was it. And the 15 to 20 people that were there, 5 of them were doctors. This woman influenced their life so much so. Y'all know doctors don't generally come to funerals. You're a patient. They have so many. But her life was so strong that she was able to influence people in the medical field. People in the medical field deal with thousands of people a day. Well, those thousands of people that they're dealing with are from all walks of life. Here's what I'm saying to you. You cannot underestimate your platform based on your followers. I can guarantee you somewhere in your platform, you're leading a king. You're leading someone who's responsible for many. You are not less important because you don't have a lot of followers. So in building a platform, and I probably spent too much time on you understanding the power your words have. I probably spent too much time with you understanding you don't have the power to speak life or take it. Your words influence life. And you can do that for the good or the bad. But you need to know that everyone has a platform. Everyone has someone that they are responsible for. That was the point of going into that. So you have to believe. K Press, good to see you this morning. In building a platform, you have to believe in you. You have to believe that you have something to give in order to create a platform, because we're talking about building a platform this morning. All right. When I started my social media platform, I started Coffee Time in 2011. It started on SocialCam. There was an app called SocialCam. You could do 5 minutes of video, and they had an option inside of the app to share it to Facebook. So I would go to SocialCam and cut up and act a fool, and then I'd go in the morning, I'd do Coffee Time and share it to Facebook. Then Periscope came out. Before Periscope, Facebook gave you the option to upload videos. That's what it was. So I would record a 5-minute video, call it Coffee Time, upload it to Facebook. This is in 2011, 2012. Now, us recording videos didn't come till 2013. I remember. 2013, I stopped uploading my videos, and I was doing SocialCam. Then an app came out called Periscope in 2017, I believe. 16, 14, 15, somewhere over there. Periscope came out. Periscope gave us the ability to go live. Facebook was not the first. Periscope was. We could now go live. Here's what I did. First of all, you got to believe you have a platform. If you believe in what you do, my objective was never really the numbers. I was focused on trying to encourage people, right? Then I started seeing people that they got thousands of followers. How in the world? And I would try different things out. I noticed when I said certain topics, I'd have more people. And I learned early on in building a platform that the more sensational your topics are, the more people are going to jump on. People don't want wisdom. They want sensation. They want something juicy. They want something empty. If I was talking about city girls and offering the latest gossip, I could get up to 100 people easy. When I talk about one night, I talked about, I have to be careful now, more careful than I ordinarily would. But one night, it was a sexual topic, and I had near 100 people that logged on within 15 minutes. Then so I started another little talk show for social media called Real Talk. I did coffee time in the morning. That was the time that I decided to inspire people, encourage. And at night, Real Talk was some of the racy stuff that we needed to discuss that nobody was talking about. Relationships, sex, just a lot of different things. I created Real Talk. Raquel Hill, good morning. The one thing that remained consistent whether I came on in the morning or the evening, I knew I was called to encourage and enlighten people. I also knew, and my friends would tell you this, I was called to challenge religion. I've always known that. So in creating the platforms, I had a purpose. So if you're building a platform, let's go through what we've gotten. The first thing you got to do is believe that you have the power to lead, you have the influence. Because if you don't believe that, building a platform, you'll start out strong and you'll quit. What's going to make you consistent through the vicissitudes of life, through the ups and downs, is your ability to believe that this is what you're supposed to do. That's one. Number two, whatever you believe is responsible for your actions. You respond to what you believe. The second thing, when you believe you're called to build a platform, you have to understand what is the purpose of your platform. What are you trying to do? That's important because there are going to be days when people are just not going to follow you. They're not going to listen to you. Well, you don't give up because nobody's on. I started having workshops. Started out on social cam, started loading the videos to Facebook. This was long before people were in. In fact, when I started, y'all, I kid you not, I don't know any talk shows that were on social media, locally or abroad. But I knew something. I believed something. All right. You've got to, let me give you some of the keys to building longevity when it comes to your platform. You got to look up to par. Presentation is everything. So you believe you're called to do it. You start to do it. Presentation is everything. That takes equipment. It takes time. And it takes dedication. Let me give you something else. Presentation is everything. How it looks matters. You want people to see you. You're starting a platform on IG, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Well, what they see matters. What they see is going to determine if they stay. What they see will catch their attention. What you have to offer will keep their attention. So look is everything. You got to look up to par. Your stuff needs to look good. It needs to look clean. There's a level of excellence that you need to operate in when it comes to your look, because your look is the business card for your brand. Your look tells me everything that I need to know about you. You see these people with these old chamois backgrounds and, oh my God, you can tell they're using a green screen or something. But it's not done in excellence. I guarantee you, if you hang around and listen to what they have to say, they're not speaking in excellence. Your look, in most cases, not every case, but your look, in a lot of cases, is an example of your content. You can't tell me you're a person of excellence and you don't have it straight across the board. you need to be concerned with how it looks. You're building a social media brand. You're building a platform for yourself. You're going to be having workshops and all that stuff. You're going to be writing books. You need to build the right platform by creating a great look. I have people all over the country that call. When I say the country, I mean it. That call me and they want to know, Pickett, what do you use? Especially during the y'all call it pandemic. It wasn't a pandemic. It was an epidemic. Excuse me for being a nerd. Pandemic deals with the world. Epidemic deals with certain nations, certain groups. Anyway, during COVID, they were calling left and right. They wanted to know, what are you using? How do you do that? Because I have the power. Let me see. Do I have a video on here? I have the power to change my background and make it a video. And they wanted to know. They wanted to know, Pickett, where you get this stuff from? A few pastors. I was setting their stuff up for them because they wanted it, because they understand and understood. Look is everything. All right. Let me tell you what's just as important as how you look. Let me tell you what stands on the side of your look. Consistency. Consistency. You coming on at 8, you need to be on at 8. Now, a lot of stuff I'm able to get away with because I've been on so long. I've been doing this over 10 years. People trust me. And when we trust people, we give them grace to break the rules. You know, like I'm changing my time. This morning I jumped on at 7:45. Ordinarily I get on at 8:30. But when you've built a brand and you're consistent, you have liberty to do what you want. I don't care. I'm going to use Usher Raymond. I don't care what time Usher Raymond comes on live. We're going to be there. Why? Because his brand, not only is his brand huge, when the brand becomes bigger and has built a lot, that person becomes more trusted. We'll wait for them. So you have to be consistent. If you're going to be coming live once a week, a certain time of day, then you have to do it like clockwork. For years, I never changed my time. If I said I was coming on at 6:30, I came on at 6:30. If I said I was coming on at 7:30, I came, and I did it for years. Now I'm in a position, because I have so many different outlets that I can kind of pick and choose when I want to come on and when I don't. And people show up because I've stood the test of time and have become a trusted voice, maybe not to everybody, but at least to a few. Consistency is the key. So if you're going to build a platform, first thing you need to know what your purpose is. Second thing you need to know is you need to know that look matters. How you present yourself matters. Third thing you need to know is consistency is the key. Consistency will be the key to open up new opportunities. Listen to me. 2016. I get my years confused. It could have been, I think it was 2017. I got an offer to take Coffee Time to TV. Let me tell you how. One of the producers of the TV network happened to catch my live, and it caught their attention. They started following me. It was what they saw on Facebook, and I was advertising my TV show at the time. I was on radio as well. No, I'm sorry. I was advertising my radio show. I wasn't on TV, but I was on radio. But what they saw on Facebook caused them to listen to my radio show. After about 3 months, they called me and gave me an offer to do a TV show on a major network here in the city with syndication. Let me tell you who the network was. It was CW. Now, they explained to me. I was so elated, so excited. I was like, wow, this is what consistency does. Consistency opens the door to new opportunities. I was so elated, excited that they called Lil TP to do a TV show. The issue was they explained to me because of their, they're going to be producing the show. I would write the content, but I would not own it. They would own the content. They would own the show. That didn't sit. It didn't sit well with me because during that time too, coffee time was at an all-time high, and I didn't need TV or radio. In fact, when I came off radio the last time, Coffee Time had branded itself and had become such a great brand that when I'm out in the street, I hear it to this day. Hey, Mr. Coffee Time. Hey, Mr. Coffee Time. I was talking to someone in Fort Myers, Florida on yesterday. They say, hey, Mr. Coffee Time, because the brand Coffee Time got larger than the Terrance Pickett show, and the Terrance Pickett show was first. This is what consistency does. All right. I turned down the TV deal. You're not going to own my stuff. If I write the show and it's my content, I want ownership. And I think I would have had like 25 or 30% ownership. Listen to this. I turned it down. When you're building a platform, don't be so eager and vulnerable to accept the first deal that comes along. Remember this. If there's a first deal, there's a second deal. LeBron James, when he was in high school, Adidas brought him into a meeting in high school, and Adidas offered him $10 million. He almost signed. But he said he thought to himself, if they can offer me 10, somebody else is thinking they can offer me more. So he turned the Adidas deal down. Then Nike came to him a few months later and offered him $100 million. So the difference between the two offers was $90 million. Let me tell you something. You better know your worth. You better know what you're doing and its worth. And do not accept an offer just because it makes you happy. That's an emotional decision. So I turned down that TV offer because I believe in ownership. I own all my stuff. I own my own brand. I own everything. In fact, I'm in negotiations right now with the company for media. They want Terrance Pickett, but in order to get Terrance Pickett, they have to go through TP Productions because the productions own Terrance Pickett. There's a production company that owns Terrance Pickett. I own the production company. I sold myself to me. Ownership is the key, people, and you have to know the art of negotiations. I turned down that TV deal because I want to own 100%. And everybody that I talk, no, this could be your foot in the door, because that's what we're accustomed to hearing. This could be your foot in the door. It could be, and maybe not. Wes talk about. He talk about I own the owner of the production company. Now, let me tell you something. EC Weston owns Lit the Lit TV network. He's one of my sons. And if you want to be on TV, that's a network that you should go to. I'm telling you, they are rising. I checked on some stuff last night with their network. And one of the things that I read was they're better than BET. And it just shows you how big their brand really is. So if you want to be on TV, you got to show it. You got an idea. Wes is definitely the person you need to reach out to. He has a stepson named Mike Grubbs. Now, his stepson is black as night. My God. Stepson looks like sin. But they'll get you straight, is what I'm trying to. Anyway, I turned down that TV deal. A year and a half later, the same network called back. And they said, hey, we do have we want to give you another offer. But if you be responsible for your production, you can own your product. And instead of us putting you on TV, we will give you a discount as our contribution to get you on TV. So airtime is extremely expensive. Okay. 30 minutes can cost you $900, $1,500, depending on the time, prime time. That's radio and TV. It costs. They gave me an hour of airtime. When Coffee Time came on TV, hear me and hear me good, I had 1 hour of TV time, and I paid $50 for that hour. Consistency. I built the brand around my name. A-Train will tell you, his wife Tracy would tell you as well, that when we built the Terrance Pickett show, we weren't looking at my name initially. It was going to be Drive Time with Terrance Pickett. It was going to be another name we came up with was The Afternoon Drive. Everything was a play on the words with because it's drive time. That 4 to 6 hours is drive time. 4 to 7 hours is drive time. And we were going to do with Terrance Pickett and comedian A-Train. And one day I was walking in the radio station as we're planning. We got the deal. We were getting ready to come on radio. And it hit me. It had to be the Holy Spirit to give it to me this way. The idea was just too great and too fruitful for it to be anything else. So I'm going to give God the credit for that. It hit me. Call it the Terrance Pickett Show. And make it where if they get rid of you, they get rid of the show too. Brand your name. I'm going to give y'all some good stuff this morning. When you brand your name, when that name becomes branded, anything you offer, people will buy into because they're buying into the brand, and the brand is your name. If you develop consistency, you do people right, you never have a problem out of eating. The Terrance Pickett brand 1 year brought in 1 year. Hear me out. This is T-shirts, coffee mugs, and that's all I was in donations. 1 year brought in $48,000. This is before I start asking people to support and give money. The brand brought in the money because I was selling product. When I tell you it's no excuse of being broke. Broke people are just lazy because there's too many creative things that you can do to make money to help yourself out. Most people are addicted to a handout. Now, there's a difference between a handout and a hand up. I don't give handouts. I give hand up. I sow into people who I believe the potential is there. They're just going through some hard time. They're going to be all right. That's a hand up. That's not a handout. I'm on the bottom pushing them up. I gave them a hand up, not a handout. You give a handout, you're going to have to keep giving handouts because that person has not figured out how to make it work. So I built the Terrance Pickett brand and I started selling T-shirts with my quotes on them. I still do. In fact, I got a few in the back of the studio. I got a few T-shirts I need to get rid of. I'm coming out with a whole new line in the next couple of weeks. Build a brand around your name. That brand will live as long as you're living. Now, I'm on TV. I was on TV. I was on radio. And I absolutely owned social media. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Whether it's Coffee Time or the Terrance Pickett Show. And I was in church and I was in the street. Everywhere I was representing my brand. Now I'm eating the fruit of my labor. Listen to this. The coffee shop is a success because of the Terrance Pickett brand. You say, well, them some big words. I can prove it to you. Business started to go down. People didn't know I owned it. Business was going down. When I came out and told people, hey, it's my coffee shop, I own it, blah, blah, business went up consistently for 11 months till they closed the buildings on me to clean. But I'm saying to you, the power of building your platform will produce revenue to support your brand. There's a science to it. There's some things you have to implement, but I'm giving you free game this morning. Listen to this. When I started Encounter Church, your boy's pastoring now. Our church is different. I don't do all that religious stuff. I don't do all them announcements. We do praise and worship. I get up and teach the word. We love each other. We go home. You know, I don't do 2-hour church, 3-hour church. No, we do an hour service, hour, 15 minutes. And I'm not saying others are wrong for how they do it. I'm telling you how we do it. The church was built off my brand. People knew me from here. We have informational cards that people fill out. Putting y'all on game again. 85% of the visitors saw us on Reels. That's why they came. Latasha Holsey has brought a lot of visitors to our church. A lot of people that go, they go because they heard her. When you're consistent, even if you have issues like me, the consistency of your brand and your message will outlive your mistakes and your failures. I've been truthful and forthcoming, extremely transparent about issues and about my struggles right here on Coffee Time. None of them struggles have hindered my progress because I was just honest. Hey, I'm weak in this area. Hey, I'm still growing in this area. Why? When you're building your brand, listen to me. Be honest. It's okay to say you don't know. Let me get back with you. It's okay to say, no, I can't do that. It's okay. I don't know why people feel like you have to be perfect in order to be great. I get messages all the time in my inbox about the transparency. That's what people love. I'll tell you quick what I'm not. But just because I'm not it doesn't mean that I'm trying to be it. I'm trying to be better. but I understand my weaknesses. I do, and I acknowledge them. Be true to your brand. Stop trying to act like you know everything when you don't. There's a lot I don't know. There's a lot that I am yet learning. But what I do know, I know well. I promise you that. What I don't know, I don't know. Now, this deal that I'm negotiating now, we should be done today. We should be done with everything today. This deal, what gives me credibility for this deal, this deal here is probably one of the biggest deals I've ever had in my life. But the offer came, or the opportunity came, as a result of the brand. See, when God gave Abraham, one of the covenants that God gave Abraham, he says, I'm going to make your name great. If you build a platform and you do right by people, you're consistent, people can trust you, they will remember your brand, and your brand will unlock the door to greater opportunities. I've been telling people for the longest I'm going back to radio. Finally got a deal. But this time, the deal is not just my show. The deal is me running the show. My brand did that. And of course, the grace of God. But what people don't understand about grace is grace has to have a subject in order to produce an object. All of us have grace. But if you're not doing nothing, grace doesn't have anything to stick to. Keep your word with people. When you can't keep your word, tell people you can't keep your word. Don't just assume they should know. If I'm supposed to be somewhere at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 11 o'clock. If I'm going to be late because things happen, especially when you're busy, I've got a call. Hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to be late. You got to communicate your actions. Your actions will help cement your brand. What you do, what you say helps cement your brand. When certain people's name comes up, the first thing a lot of people say, I don't want to fool with there. There are some black businesses in Jacksonville I would never support because of their inconsistency. How you open today, but you off tomorrow, but you don't have a schedule. There's this restaurant that I drove 30 minutes to 30 minutes back because I wanted to support. They gave me their hours. I looked at their hours. Okay. I even called before I left home. What time do you open? We open. What time do you close? We close. I went 3 times. They were never open. Every time I went, I called. What does that mean? They were open when I called. They were closed when I got there. They closed early. They didn't notify their customer. You won't last. People buy into consistency. It's not just your product. I'm telling you, especially us, because black people will tell you in a minute, oh, I love their cake, but I stopped buying it because they ain't never open. It's not just your product. It's your presentation. It's not just your presentation. It's your consistency. That's how you build a platform. The excellence of how it looked, a good product, and consistency. That's coffee time. I love y'all. I'm going to be telling you more about the radio station. For those of you that support us, I appreciate you. Those of you that show up, there's a million different things you can do. I'm honored that you would take the time to come on Coffee Time and hear my little words. Hopefully I've said something to help change your life, encourage you, empower you, and help you believe that the giant really lives in you. There's no giant outside of you. The giant is in you. You've been given the power to overtake and to rule, and it comes alive when you believe. Thank you for your support. For those of you that give to us weekly basis, monthly basis, thank you. For those of you that would like to start, let me encourage you to do so. You can do so at the Cash App $ sponsor coffee time. If you don't do Cash App, you want to do Zelle, I'll give you my information there. If you don't want to do Zelle or Cash App, you want to write a check, I can meet you. You want to do cash, I'll meet you. I want to take the time to also invite you to Encounter Church every Sunday at 1 p.m. 600 King Street is where we are meeting, and I'd love to see you there. Come and fellowship and be a part of a great worship service. I'd love to see you. Have a great day today. You were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom on the inside of you is not capable of handling. You got to calm down, slow down, shh, be quiet, know when to speak, use emotional intelligence, trust God, and let wisdom speak. When wisdom speak, you will always win. You all have a productive day, and always remember to think higher, speak life. Peace out.